Right, everyone. Hi, and welcome to today's eFolder series. My name is Ari. I'm the EMEA Marketing Coordinator at eFolder. I'm based out of sunny Berlin, Germany, and I'll be your host for today's session. So welcome to the eFolder Expert Series. If this is your first time joining us for an eFolder webinar, we do these twice a month, and this webinar series brings together experts from the eFolder staff and our local partner communities for really deep dive discussions on key services and technical topics. And as you know, today's presentation is all about 5 different ways to prevent data loss with business-grade file sync solutions for yourself and for your clients. All right. So before we go through the agenda, I just want to cover a few housekeeping items. Today's session is being recorded, and the recorded version of the webinar will be made available on eFolder's YouTube channel, but we will also make copies of the slides as well as the recording available to everyone who registered for the event and send out the emails later today. We have put everyone in listen-only mode, which means that you can enjoy the audio portion of today's event by either streaming it on your computer or by dialing it over the phone. And of course, questions are strongly encouraged. There is a special Q&A section reserved at the end, but you can submit your questions as you go along. Use the Q&A log in your panel, and we will try and address them on the fly. As you can see, today's presentation really follows a logical flow. First, we will discuss today's biggest threats to your client's data security, your data. We will then briefly introduce eFolder Anchor for those who have never heard of us or the product before, and then go into a demo for a deeper understanding of the features and certain settings that can help you prevent the major data risks that are out in the market today. But first off, I would like to introduce our expert speaker for today's session, Dr. Anne During. Anne is an instructional designer here at eFolder. She's based on the East Coast in Pittsburgh and has a background in information architecture and instructional technology. So she spent her last 12 years structuring and distributing data and information at an IT firm. She holds a BA from Carnegie Mellon University, an MS from the University of Pittsburgh, and a doctorate from Duquesne University's Instructional Design Program. So hi, Anne, and thank you so much for joining us today. Hope you're awake because I know it's early over there.
Great, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. All right, so I want to jump right in and dive into our actual topic by discussing, 5 big factors that you as an MSP should be aware of because they can threaten your client's data security. So the number one risk that a lot of companies and a lot of clients are facing, many without even being aware of it, is devices being stolen or lost. So we live in a day and age where really most of us carry around multiple devices, right? Starting from our phones and ending with laptops or tablets. And that also means that the risk of us experiencing theft or loss at one point or another is constantly increasing. So really just picture yourself forgetting your phone in a boardroom or in the back of a cab or leaving your laptop bag accidentally in a coffee shop. Because really the biggest adventure of most devices nowadays, the fact that they are portable and light and can be carried around really everywhere, at the same time is also a huge risk because it just makes it easier to steal them, in a crowded train or forget them in a random place. And the problem is that most of these devices are repositories for very critical company data. And now you may think, oh, that's not an issue for me because none of my employees carry a work phone and all laptops have to be left at the desk. But stop yourself right there and consider how many smartphones these days really can sync multiple email accounts into one common place. So for example, I don't have a company cell phone, but I do have my Office Outlook account synced to my mail app, meaning that even though this is my phone and, it's my responsibility to take care of it, there is sensitive corporate data that is stored on my cell phone. So if I lose it or if I somehow get mugged, that also poses a huge risk to my company. So really being able to protect devices of any kind is really important, especially for MSPs, because as an MSP business, it's your job to gain your clients' trust and guarantee the utmost security of all their data, which also includes, considering these types of incidences and making preparations or making plans to avoid big damages if ever that were to happen to your clients. And then secondly, another possible cause for data loss is malicious overwrite. So it's probably no news to anyone that there are countless virus types out there that can put data at risk. So whether it's a CryptoLocker attack or ransomware or the various different forms of such, they can be spread through multiple ways. And you may not even be aware of it. So a common distribution way is sending out internal emails that seem to be coming from your company's director or your company's CEO, but really are just clever spams or something along those lines. And the results can be pretty dramatic because if you open that email, if you download the attachment, you could experience data encryption, data overwrite, or results like Trojans or data being held hostage. And in many cases, that can mean having to pay a lot of money to get your data back. And whether that hits you or your clients, it's money that you don't want to spend or shouldn't have to spend, really. So no matter what the outcome is, it's a hassle that you want to avoid and that you want to make sure you can avoid for your clients. So it's important for MSPs to make arrangements that allow you to recover all data from any malicious overwrite. And then a third possible source of loss is the theft of credentials. So in this day and age, there are countless ways to steal someone's login information. Just think about how many different websites you probably have, a username or password for, both in your work and your private life. It could start with your work email accounts and end with your private online banking login credentials. We just have a lot of information stored online, and then we have different ways of keeping our passwords in mind, right? So we have the good old Post-it notes stuck to our desktops at work, or the mirror at home that literally anyone could steal at any point in time. Or we go to the other extreme and we want to choose passwords that we can keep in mind so we don't have to write them down. But then choosing passwords like 1234 or your child's first name or your best friend's birthday are not a much better choice either because they're not secure at all. And the same goes with storing all your passwords in a just one-stop platform. So if you've ever heard of LastPass, for example, it's a great and very convenient platform that can store all your login information from whatever domain you want. But they got hacked last year, and a lot of credentials were stolen. So unforeseen incidents like that can happen at any point in time. And as you can imagine, the results of stolen passwords can be catastrophic. So really, no matter what your situation, if you have passwords shared across multiple accounts or somebody manages to access your personal computer, it can quickly result in, well, critical data being tampered with. Now, jumping into a fourth reason why data can get deleted is accidental data deletion. And that is actually one of the biggest and yet least prepared for ways of losing data, because accidents are a major reason for data loss, and this can mean both user error or just spilling your morning coffee over your laptop. And user error has always been a weak link in the security protection chain. And the thing is that with the recent progress in technology, it will likely happen more frequently because businesses start collaborate more and more on the same documents. And this can then lead to accidental overwrite of documents that multiple people are working on, and then you realize that the data is unrecoverable. In addition, user error is also a main factor of concern for data that is stored in cloud applications. So many people think, oh, my data is in the cloud, so it's safe. But reality is most email platforms, for example, have unlimited retention for deleted emails. But the same thing does not hold true for empty trash folders. So if a user comes in and is not aware of that potential risk, they could clean out their entire deleted items folder and never be able to recover that data again because of unfavorable retention policies of their local email host. The same could go for an admin who fails to transition data from one account who has left the company to another in a certain amount of time, or just someone deleting a version of a document that they thought was outdated. So no matter what the circumstance, it can happen at any point in time. And in any of these situations, your clients will likely turn to you, hoping or trusting that you can provide the right kinds of services to bring that data back. And anyone who's been in this situation, anyone who's dropped their phone or had something spill on a laptop knows the desperation of trying to get their data back. So that is also a major selling point for MSPs. If you're able to provide the right kinds of tools at the right point in time for your clients, you will definitely gain a competitive edge and just strengthen the trust that they put into you. And then last but not least, coming to the fifth risk that can be posed on your client's data is non-secure sharing. So collaboration has always been part of most businesses, right? In the early days, it was a USB stick, sharing documents by carrying them around in your pocket, or by sending them out with emails. And each one of these sharing methods had their own set of problems and hurdles. But now, over the last couple of years, we have seen consumer-grade file sharing companies more and more on the rise. They're convenient to use, they're free, they're easy to configure, and so many businesses, even today, are still deploying, Dropbox or SharePoint or OneDrive to sync sensitive corporate data. The risk here is that that is not the best way to keep your data secure for businesses. So it's important for you to understand how your employees or your clients' employees collaborate with colleagues and collaborate with external parties, and then to be aware that a non-secure sharing option will decrease the transparency and the control that you have over that shared data. So using non-secure solutions, no matter how compelling the low prices are or how easy it is to set up a password, can definitely result in folders being redistributed beyond your knowledge or oversight, and you just being unable to control who can download what documents. And this is a point that's really important to emphasize also to your clients. Unless the company can control the shares, it's hard to enforce security here. And when I talk about secure sharing, I mean giving users the ability to decide who accesses what, being able to insert passwords, being able to set download limits or expiration dates, and just really being in control of your data in many different ways. So now that you understand what big challenges you are facing and your clients are facing and trying to keep their data safe, we also understand that that puts MSPs in a very tricky situation, right? Because when it comes to finding the right solutions to offer, there are so many needs to consider, both on your end and your client's end, right? So your clients are looking for a solution that allows them to be more flexible, more collaborative, more productive, but also more secure. They want it all. And then on your end, you're probably looking to provide all those products at a fair price while also staying ahead of the competition. And that's a lot of needs and wants, but good news, because that's where we believe Anchor comes in, because Anchor really is a business-grade file sync solution that was developed from the ground up for MSPs and VARs. And what it allows you to do is it gives clients the ability to work together across multiple devices and to cooperate with really anyone on anything without compromising security. So deploying eFolder Anchor is a great way to ensure that your clients can enjoy all the benefits of cloud file sync while still getting all the security and never having that be in the harm's way. So just going into a bit more detail for anyone who has never heard of Anchor before to help you understand how the product looks in real life, and you'll later see that during Anne's demo too. This slide illustrates all the easy ways that Anchor empowers users to sync, access, and work on their files. So first, most basically, the sync tool on the user's primary desktop will be the repository for all of the user's work products. And the personal sync folder and the team shares are all found here and can be accessed here. And then any new content or any edits are automatically synced to the cloud and to other devices. But of course, as we already discussed, not everyone is working from just their laptop or desktop all the time, right? So smartphone access has become more and more vital over the last couple of years. So for employees of every stripe, more and more work gets done via iPhones, Androids, or Windows Phone devices. And good news is that Anchor supports all of them. And you can just access, open, email, and even edit documents right from your mobile device. Of course, given that you have the necessary tools installed. And the same goes for tablets. And then lastly, from any web browser, no matter where you are or what device you're working from, the user can also just access all the documents and files and folders by logging into the web portal. And lastly, before I give Anne presenter rights and stop talking, I just want to dive a little deeper into how Anchor works on the user level before we look at how that can benefit your business and that of your clients in real life. So let's look at this diagram for a second because it shows how Anchor works on a couple different levels, really. So first we have client A and B, right? Both clients are users that are independent from another, but that are both managed by the same MSP, and they are both using Anchor. So client A has two users. One of them is using their phones and their iPad, which means they're taking data off of the file server in real life and then syncing it back to the cloud in order to be able to access that data from any device. And then the second user also has multiple devices like their phone and tablets. And because of that, they're just able to access data from wherever they are and work on the go. And then client B is quite similar, only with slightly different devices and equipment. But still, they're able to access information from anywhere and be more flexible in the way they work and when and how they work. And then also note that both client A and B cooperate with external parties, our guest users here. So we have guest accounts G1 and G2. So both guest accounts have their own devices and their own means of access to that shared data. But it's important to note that client A and B have a multitude of different sharing options to take advantage of when sharing documents with G1 and G2 because they always have full control over their sharing options. And then lastly, you as an MSP are in full charge over how storage is being allocated. You have a multi-tenant admin console, which you can access, and through that are able to monitor all your client activity. And by doing that, you can ensure that your client's data is always secure and you're always in full control of it. So that hopefully gives you a good idea of what features Anchor provides and how it can help you get ahead in your business. So I just want to share, and I'm going to make you a presenter so you can dive into the demo and show how the product works in real life. So you should
pop up. Perfect. Okay. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Okay. Yep, I can see it.
Wonderful, and that was a great overview. Thank you very much. So what we just looked at a few threats an IT service provider might face, really on any given day when you're supporting clients. So what I'm going to do is walk you through some of the details of exactly how Anchor is going to protect you, show you how it works firsthand. This is going to help you restore content in the event that you experience any of those threats to data that we just reviewed. So what we're going to do for this demo is we're going to assume that I'm an administrator of a company called Super Safe Data. This is a brandable web portal, as you can see. So I have my icon up here for Super Safe Data. And I've received a support call from an end user, and we can call her Jane for this demo. So Jane was working on a document, and like a lot of us, she accidentally deleted a section of that document that she really needs to restore. Now, because she's using Anchor, this is actually a very easy problem to solve. Now, by default, Anchor keeps track of each and every revision of a file. So all we have to do is take a look at the files revision history list. Now, end users can actually do this themselves, but administrators can help out when needed. So I'm going to help Jane out today, and from the administrative web portal, I'm going to go ahead and click the Accounts tab. As you can see, this is a multi-tenant environment, so I'm going to be in the internal company here. You can see that Jane is listed as a user. Now, if I click this Browse Folder icon next to Jane's name, it's actually going to take me to her account. So I'm going to be able to see all of her content. Okay, so Jane has needs to restore content from a particular file that's in her My Files folder. So what I'm going to do is select the affected file, right-click and select Revisions, and it's going to take me again to that revision history log for this particular file. You can see all the different revisions, the different versions of the file listed in this page, and you can actually click the name of the file to preview the content to see if it's the exact file that you want to restore as the latest version. And then when you find that file that you want to restore, you would just simply select Restore Revision, and you're going to pretty quickly see this nice notification saying that the revision was successfully restored, and you can see that this revision has now been moved up to the latest version. So this is all fixed. So now this newest file revision is going to be available on each and every connected device. And this formal revision is actually just going to be moved down one level, so it hasn't been permanently overwritten. You can always restore that if you need to.
Nice.
So that's restoring previous revisions. As you can see, pretty easy, pretty quick and easy. What we're going to do next is look at the revision rollback feature. So we hear back from Jane. I'm actually going to go back to her, the top level of her file account. So we hear back from Jane, and it seems that Jane isn't having problems with just one file. She's actually been hit by ransomware, so something like a CryptoLocker virus. And all of her files, including the files that she syncs to the cloud, have been infected. So, you know, that is certainly a terrifying call to receive as an administrator, but because Anchor uses, because Jane is using Anchor, because we're using Anchor here at Super Safe Data, this isn't actually going to turn into a problem for the company. We're going to use the revision rollback feature, as I mentioned. So in a real-world scenario, you would actually just click this activity log tab, and it's going to show you all of the events that have happened related to her account. It'll show you when content has changed, when it's been edited. So that activity log is going to give you a quick view of when her files were infected. So once I have that date in mind, I can click this rollback button. I'm going to select the date that her content needs to restored to. So I'm going to select the date where her content was healthy. I can actually click this unlock link here if I need to and select rollback. This is going to be a pretty quick process. You can see I have a notification saying that everything was successfully rolled back. So again, easy enough. So whenever Jane, now that her sync data has now been reverted to the previous healthy version, so it's not infected by ransomware anymore, so her work content is safe, and the company's work content is safe as well.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so we hear back from Jane, okay, and so we're going to kind of move on to another typical problem that an administrator might hear on a daily basis. So, so this is something that employees do. This does happen to employees at companies, unfortunately, pretty often. We hear from Jane. It seems that she's lost her phone this time. So let's go back to the administrative dashboard. So again, she's lost her phone, and her phone does have synced data on it. Now, luckily, this is also a really easy fix. We're going to go back to the Accounts tab, and we're going to see Jane's account listed here. If I click to expand Jane's account, you can actually see all the different devices that Jane has registered to her account. And you can see that this is her iPhone. Because content is on her phone, you know, we don't want that phone to fall into the wrong hands, and we don't want that whoever has taken the phone, whoever finds the phone, to find her sync content. So all I would do as an administrator is select Unlink, and we're going to see that it disappears. So that phone has now been unlinked from her account, and it's actually, the data has been remotely wiped, so that data, her synced data, is no longer on her phone. She can always, if she finds her phone tomorrow, re-register her phone and resync all of her data. But for the time being, now that her phone is lost, that content is no longer her phone. It's no longer at risk. So again, another really quick, easy fix.
And definitely one that has been really popular for our partners because, like you said, and it happens all the time. One question we always have as a follow-up is are you able to delete any sort of data on that phone? No, we can't. It's really the data that is in the sync tool. But to this day, show me a solution that is able to just remotely wipe the entire device, and we'll get there. But for now, it's really hard to even just do that. So being able to go in and really quickly, remotely wipe a certain device or a certain user can be really, really handy. Also, if someone quits, changes positions, and you just want to make sure that all the data that they may have stored on different devices can be quickly deleted, that is another really handy feature where that could come in.
Absolutely. Great point. Yeah, so it's not going to totally wipe the entire phone, but it will wipe the synced data that's on the app on her phone. And you can actually see that if this is her remaining device that she has registered, this is her Windows machine. If she loses her laptop, you can just, again, click that Unlink button, and it's going to remotely wipe that content. And if I click this Unlink button, it's actually going to give me the option of keeping the data on the cloud server, so you can actually retain the content on her device in our cloud server, but it's just removed from her local device. So there's a lot of great options there as an administrator. Yeah, great point.
Thanks.
Okay, so you can see it's super safe data. They're really good at security. Keeping things safe is very important to them. So they even take some advanced security precautions to help prevent hacks or unauthorized access to data. So with Anchor, end users can turn on two-factor authentication, or an admin can turn it on as an organization policy. Now, as we just discussed, two-factor authentication is going to add that extra login step. So in addition to entering your username and password, users are going to be sent a security code through text message, email message, or app, their choice, providing that extra layer of security over their account and all of theof their data. So let's take a look at this organization. I'm going to go ahead and click the Settings tab. And then I'm going to click the Policies button, and you can see all of the policies that have been set up and configured for this particular organization. If I scroll down under User Settings, there's that Required Two-Step Authentication policy. You can see it's already been turned on for this organization. So as an administrator, I'm requiring all accounts to have two-step authentication configured. So I'm going to go ahead and actually minimize this browser, and I'm going to open up Jane's local computer. This is Jane's laptop that we're looking at right now. So when Jane accesses the web portal and she goes to log in, she enters her username, her password, and when she clicks login, you're going to see, because this particular two-step authentication has been set up for her account, she's actually required now for another authentication code, which is going to be delivered to her through an email. So once she receives that email, she would simply grab that code, enter it here, click login, and she'd gain access to her account. It's really simple. It's really easy to set up and configure. But because this is turned on, anytime she accesses the web portal, she needs to log into the web portal. Anytime she registers a new device or accesses her iPhone, for example, she is going to be prompted for that extra security code. So it's just that, again, that extra layer of security that's going to prevent unauthorized access to data.
Great. Nice.
Great. Yeah. So let's end on one more tool that can be used to protect data. So let's see what else Super Safe Data does to protect their information. So Jane is collaborating, like most employees do, very consistently with people inside of the organization and outside of the organization. People are sharing content, and she has a number of different options available to her to make sure that her content, when she's collaborating and sharing information, that it's safe. So for this example, I'm going to go open up her synced folder. So anything in her folder is now syncing to the cloud and between any of her connected devices. So in this folder, you can see that she's created her own folder called Files for Accountant. So in this particular example, Jane wanted a long-term safe collaboration solution between her and outside users, an outside consultant, accounting firm. These are consultants who don't have Anchor accounts. So all she did was she created a folder. She added the files in there that need to be shared with her accountant. She simply right-clicks that folder, points to the context menu, and selects Share Link. and the web browser is going to open. And I apologize, my internet access, my internet is a little bit slow today on my virtual machine here. So once this web browser opens and it launches, it's actually going to prompt me as an end user to configure share settings for this particular folder. So what you're going to see is, by default, this link is going to be a public share. So if I copy this to my clipboard and send it to anybody, anybody can click that link and access the shared folder. Really easy way to collaborate. But if you're dealing with more sensitive information, if you want to be extra secure, all you would have to do is click Secure Share, and it's going to password that folder. So it's going to password protect that folder for somebody inside of the organization and even for people outside of the organization. And this system is actually smart enough to know that these consultants, these accountants that I want to share with, don't have anchor accounts, and they're actually automatically, the system's automatically going to create a username and a password for this new guest user. So I can actually, once I select Secure Share, I can click to expand the share options. I can even set up notifications when I upload content or download content, or anybody else uploads or downloads content. And I add the new user. And as soon as I add this new user, you can see that I can give this user upload permissions and delete permissions. I can even send them a little message if I want to. And as soon as I click share, that recipient is going to receive an email notification and also a username and password if they don't yet have access to the system. Again, really easy option for securely collaborating and sharing data. So, this really could have been a pretty tough day for super safe data, but thanks to Anchor, we've recovered an older version of a file, we've recovered from ransomware, we've protected a lost device, and took a few extra precautions by using two-factor authentication and sending a secure share link.
Great. That was still a pretty rough day for Jane because her phone is still gone, but on the MSP side and really for any type of business data, this could have ended much more catastrophic if they weren't able to leverage all these features. So thank you so much for demoing that.
Absolutely.
Jane,
Definitely.
make myself the presenter again.
Perfect.
Let me know once you can see my screen.
Yep, I can see. It looks like you're all set.
Yep. Perfect. So that concludes the demo and hopefully help you realize how quick and easy some of these steps are, but how huge the benefits can be that result from leveraging these features. Because especially attacks like a CryptoLocker virus can take so much of your time and resources that really you can invest into so many other activities. And so being able to quickly go in and, like you saw, it's a very intuitive kind of setup. So once you have instructed your IT team or the admins, IT admins of your clients' companies, that is also something that they can quickly, learn and are able to work with. And that makes it just a great and really friendly solution on all types of levels. But we also know that seeing is believing, and no MSP is going to buy or really buy into any product without ever trying it first. And that's why we have our Anchor NFR program, our Not for Resale program. So we want to encourage you to just deploy the solution for free for 21 days, either using our own setup in our cloud or your private cloud setup and environment, and just try it out and see how it works both for you and for your clients. You can get up to 25 users that are included in that 3-week free trial program. And that way you can also test trial it with certain selected clients and see how they can work with it. And again, in the emails that we will send out later today, you will find a link that allows you to sign up for that program. And again, if you've never really heard of eFolder before, we are a channel-focused business-grade vendor offering backup and file sync products. We never target end users or other companies. We're completely focused on managed service providers. And by partnering with us, you get your own dedicated account manager, your own marketing person. That's where I come in, supporting you with any marketing needs or sales tactics you might need help with, and just making sure that you're set to go and have the time to really focus on your business essentials, because we understand that business owners can use all the time they can get freed up, right? So that's just from our end. And if you are an MSP and you're looking to ramp up your marketing activities, I just wanted to let you know that we have another webinar coming up this Thursday, a little earlier this time at 11 a.m. Berlin time or 10 a.m. London time, where we will be joined by a Belgian MSP partner of ours discussing best practices for MSPs who want to do marketing but might be on a budget. So if you're interested in joining for that webinar, again, the link will be in the presentation slides that we will be sending out later. So feel free to sign up. We'd love to have you. But yeah, just looking to check if there are any questions. That doesn't look like it. I don't have any questions either. And Jane seems to be all set now. So
Great.
that's great. Perfect. Well, with that, I would like to thank everyone for listening. Thank you, Anne, for making the time and demoing the solution. And hopefully talk to everyone soon. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.